Math 7, Unit 2, Solving, Lesson 11, Part 2. Solving multi-step inequalities, notes and examples. Okay, in this lesson, we're going to be covering all 6 of the success criteria. I can verify a solution to a linear inequality. I can solve multi-step linear inequalities. I can graph a solution set to a linear inequality. I can translate verbal phrases into linear inequalities. I can justify each step used in solving linear inequalities, and I can model situations with linear inequalities. Solve each inequality, graph the solutions, and verify a solution. Example 276. 5h plus 13 is less than 25. We get rid of the plus 13 using a minus 13. So negative 13 on both sides. This gives us the 0 that we need. 5h plus 0 is 5h, and that is less than 25 minus 13 is 12. Then we are going to divide both sides by the 5, and this gives us h is less than 12 divided by 5. Well, it's 12/5, but it can also be written as 2.4. So h is less than or equal to 2.4. So on my number line, we'll go ahead and include 2 and 3 and 4. 2.4 is going to be between 2 and 3. And it's a little bit closer to 2 than it is to 3. And maybe a little bit over from there. It's almost halfway, but not quite. Okay. And h is less, so that'll be in this direction. It tells us to verify a solution. I'm going to pick 0 to verify. 5 times 0 plus 13 is going to be less than 25. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. Is 13 less than 25? That is true. Everything appears to check out with that problem. Okay, example 277. 17 minus 2 times parentheses x plus 4 is less than or equal to 5 plus 6. We need to simplify both sides. We're going to start with distributing. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And we can do the 5 plus 6 is 11. There are some like terms here. 17 minus 8 is 9. So we're going to do 9 minus 2x is less than or equal to 11. Okay, we have simplified both sides. Now we need to get the variable term by itself, the negative 2x. We can do a negative 9 on both sides. And this gives us negative 2x is less than or equal to 11. If you divide by the negative 2, dividing by a negative requires you to switch the sign. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so 1x greater than or equal to 11 divided by negative 2 is negative 5.5, or negative 11 halves. Okay, this gives us our answer. Between negative 5 and negative 6, I'll go ahead and label every other 1 this time. Between negative 5 and negative 6 is negative 5.5. This time it is included, so it'll be a filled-in circle. And x is greater. That's going to be everything in this direction. And then I need to check a solution. I'm going to pick the number 0. It is over here. And try out the original equation with 0 plugged in. Okay. 0 plus 4 is 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And 17 minus 8 is 9. 9 is less than or equal to 11 is true. So that checks out. It looks like we got the arrow going the right direction. Okay, next example. 12 times parentheses 2/3 of p plus 5/6 is going to be greater than or equal to 50. Okay, simplify both sides. We're going to have to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. 12 times 2 is 24, divided by 3 is 8. This is 8p. 12 times 5 is 60, divided by 6 is 10. 8p plus 10 greater than or equal to 50. We'll go ahead and do a negative 10 on both sides to get rid of the 10. And this gives us 8p is greater than or equal to 40. Divide by 8. Because I'm dividing by a positive, I don't have to worry about switching the sign. It's only when you divide by a negative. P is greater than or equal to 5. Now on my number line, I need to have the number 5. I'm going to throw a few more numbers on there just to make the number line more complete. 5 is included, so it's going to be filled in. And P is greater, so we need to indicate numbers greater than 5. And then pick and check a solution. I say we check 10. 10 is over here. 12 times 2/3 of 10 plus 5/6 is greater than or equal to 50. It will make it easier for me if I distribute the 12. So this is 8 times 10 plus 10. That's 80 plus 10 is 90. Is 90 greater than 50? And that is true. So we do have the arrow going the right direction. Okay, next. 5.3d plus 6.1d minus 14d plus 5 is going to be greater than negative 25.6. All right, so a little bit here with simplifying. We're going to take 5.3. Let me see here. 5.3 plus 6.1, subtract 14, and we get negative 2.6d. And then we copy down the plus 5 greater than negative 25.6. Okay, we can get rid of the plus 5 with a negative 5. Negative 25.6 and negative 5 make negative 30.6. They're both negative, so we add them together. On the other side, negative 2.6. We're going to divide both sides by negative 2.6. And because we're dividing by a negative, we need to remember to switch the sign. So, negative 30.6 divided by negative 2.6, I get, it's kind of a long drawn out answer. I'll have to approximate it. 11.769230077 is what the calculator is showing. I'm going to round it to 0.77. So D is less than negative 11.77. Now that is between 11 and 12. So I've got my number line numbered. Between 11 and 12, but closer to 12, is, is the boundary. And D is less, so it goes to this direction, to the left. And then we can pick one of these numbers and try it in to see if it works. If at all possible, I like to pick the number 0, and 0 is over here on the number line. So 5.3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 minus 0, that's all 0. Is 0 plus 5 greater than negative 25.6? That is true. This checks out to be correct. Okay, example 280. We're on the top of page 40 now. Sylvester uses his woodworking skills to make and sell garden boxes. He wants to know how much he should charge per garden box if he wants to break even and start turning a profit with at most 10 boxes sold. Sylvester has $350 in startup costs, and the materials for each box will cost $75. Write and solve an inequality to determine what prices Sylvester could charge in order to meet his goal of breaking even within 10 boxes. Okay. We need to determine what price Sylvester could charge. Just use P to equal the price of a garden box. Okay. We've defined our price. Now, in order for him to break even or start turning a profit, what he has sold needs to be more money than the cost. Okay, as far as what he sells, he's going to try to sell 10 boxes. 10 boxes times the price of 1 box. That's what he sold. And that needs to be greater than his cost. Well, his cost include $350 plus $75 per box. We're going to make that be 10 boxes. And this is the setup. The money he makes, 10 times the price he charges per garden box, has to be greater than what he spent. $350 plus $75 per box. $350 plus $750 is $1,100. We can divide both sides by 10. This says that the price has to be at least $110. Okay, so Sylvester must charge at least $110 per box. If he charges more than that, then he will break even sooner. Charging less than that will make it so he will not break even by the time he gets to 10 boxes sold. Kailini is buying garden boxes from Sylvester. Each garden box measures 8 feet by 3.5 feet. She needs 45 square feet for corn, 50 square feet for various squashes, and 4 square feet per tomato plant. Kailini buys 4 boxes. Write and solve an inequality to determine the number of tomato plants that Kailini could plant in her garden. Now here we need to understand that the area used in the garden has to be less than or equal to the area available, the total area. And here we're trying to figure out the number of tomato plants. So let's use T to equal the number of tomato plants. Okay, now that's all set up and good to go. What she uses? Well, she's going to use 45 square feet for corn, 50 square feet for squash, and 4 square feet times the number of tomato plants, so 4T, and that needs to be less than her total. She has 4 garden boxes, each of which are 8 by 3.5. This is the setup for figuring out how many tomato plants she can plant. 45 plus 50 is 95. 95 plus 4t has to be less than or equal to. We're going to do 4 times 8 times 3.5, and that is 112 square feet of garden box space she has. If we do a negative 95 to take care of this 95, we get the 4 tomato plants, or the tomato plants, we don't know how many there are yet, will have 17 square feet of space. We divide by the 4, and it looks like the number of tomato plants has to be less than or equal to 4.25. Now, Kailini's not going to be able to plant a quarter of a tomato plant, so she can plant at most 4 tomatoes. That would be the answer to this question. Okay, example 282. Consider the solution set graph. Determine the value of P. Determine what value for P makes the inequality Px plus 14 less than or equal to 11. Have the solution set shown when graphed for x. Well, this solution set shown shows x being less than or equal to -3. So we need to solve that, so that's what we come up with. Okay, if I were solving this, I would start by getting the x term by itself by subtracting 14 from both sides. This gives me Px is less than or equal to -3. Now you'll notice here, as we compare that with what it should be, this compares exactly. So this has to compare exactly as well. In order for that to happen, it's already just x, which is 1x. P has to be 1. So the answer here, p equals 1. If it had been a different number, this is just kind of for your information. Let's say that it was trying to come to this point and you had px greater than or equal to 15. In order to get from here to there, you have to divide by 3. So you'd have to do that on this side as well, meaning that p would have to be 3. So that's kind of an idea of what you would do on this type of question. Now, looking at the assignment, on number 1, you can see you're solving 6 multi-step inequalities. Let's take a look at E together. Like terms here, 9x minus 4x is 5x. On the other side, 36 minus 12 is 24. So that is simplified on both sides. Get rid of the negative 4. We do that with a positive 4 on both sides. This gives us 5x is greater than or equal to 28. And then we need to get the x by itself. We're going to divide by 5. Because we're dividing by a positive number, we leave the sign alone. 28 divided by 5 is 5.6. We'll go ahead and do it in decimal form. And then down here, between 5 and 6, let's go ahead and count every other one. 5 and 6, slightly closer to 6, so about right there. Oh, it's going to be filled in because it's greater than or equal, and greater than will go towards the larger numbers. One more thing we got to do here is check a solution. We just need a number bigger than 5.6. We could do 6. I'd like 10. 10's an easy number to multiply by. So let's try 10. 9 times 10 is 90. 4 times 10 is 40. And this needs to be greater than or equal to 36 minus 12. 90 minus 40 is 50, plus 4 is 54. 36 minus 12 is 24. 54 bigger than 34 is true. So that does check out as being the solution. Number 2, you've got a couple of multiple choice problems, which graphs match up to the inequalities. Number 3, review. You're going to draw a triangle. Guess you got to plot 3 points there, and then you got to find its area. Remember, area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So whatever your triangle ends up looking like, the base and the height should be able to be quickly determined from the graph. Okay, number 4, you're going to solve a multi-step equation and check your solution. Number 5, you're going to plug in the numbers 2 and 3 for x and y, and then simplify using the order of operations. Number 6, you're going to evaluate each not using a calculator. It looks like you get to do addition, multiplication, and long division. Number 7 is a situation problem in which you're dealing with a scuba diver and their location. Actually, how long? You're dealing with a time, how long it's going to take them to reach an elevation deeper than -200 feet. Number 8, rectangular prism has a volume greater than 14 cubic feet. Right, and solve an inequality to determine the values of x. You need to remember that the volume is length times width times height. And here the volume has to be greater than 14. So the volume, length times width times height, needs to be greater than 14. And that's a hint for you to be able to get it set up.